In today's video, we're going to see what happens if we put a plasma ball in a vacuum and change what gas is surrounding it. Guys, we've played with plasma balls in the past. They're a lot of fun. And today we've got a fun setup that should let us try a couple new things with the plasma ball. Here's the basic idea. We've played around with plasma balls in the past, and today we're going to see what happens if we put one in a vacuum. We also want to see what happens if we surround it with argon or helium gas.
I am super pumped about this because, number one, these are fantastic.
They're just fun to play with. It's
they
true.
are. It's lightning. It's controlled lightning in a controlled setting and atmosphere.
Yeah, so a plasma ball, it's running a high frequency, high voltage current up into the top, and then this glass dome is full of a couple of noble gases, usually like neon or argon or something like that. They have different mixes of gases to get the different colors that are inside. This orangey pink color we're seeing is almost certainly from neon. And it's also usually under like a controlled amount of pressure. Like it's not necessarily an atmospheric pressure, so it might be lower than that. And when the charge in the, not the outer globe, but the inner ball in the middle that's currently lighting up pink, when that gets high enough, the electric current actually is able to jump through the noble gas low pressure area and reach out to the glass on the outside. And then when you touch it, you are providing a path for the electricity to travel on more easily than just being in the air, so it will focus on you. So that's why the little tendrils are going toward Grace's fingers and lighting them up a little bit right now. A fun little experiment that you can do with these is if you can get your hands on a fluorescent light bulb, if you bring that near to one of these globes, you can see it's actually starting to light up. So if I take it away, dark, and then as I get closer, the light bulb actually begins to put off light. Energy is flowing from the globe out through the glass and into this tube and exciting the gases that are inside these fluorescent tubes. There you go, there's a little bit of glow. It's actually pretty good. Look at that.
I wonder if I bloop, 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 bloop. Flowing through me, through the light bulb, into Nate.
As it passes through the glass part, that charge is lighting it up. So this table right here, there's holes at the bottom, and this hole over here is a vacuum. So while the glass is on here, this is basically our normal vacuum chamber, but just upside down. It's just a convenient little table setup, so we can now pull the air out of this jar and see what happens. Okay, so now we've actually pulled enough air out that instead of traveling through the ionized air, there's so little that it's now jumping from down at the base. You can see all of the light down at the base is where it's trying to go, including it's trying to go down
into those
that
holes.
Hole, which is leading out to here. So it's just trying to follow that path. We've actually got a grounding wire inside this to make sure that it's safe. So I'm turning off the vacuuming ability, but now I'm going to let air back in just a little bit. Okay, so I opened it just a tiny bit, and now it's going from the ball again instead of from down there. You can see it goes down there if I put my finger here, but up here, it jumps from the ball. And that's just because I let back in a tiny bit of air, mostly nitrogen, a little bit of oxygen. It's just our normal air that's around us, so mostly nitrogen. And you can see it's got that same lovely purple shade. Actually, it's more purple than what's inside the plasma globe. So those lines that you're seeing, those purple lines, that's apparently that's a function of the current that our globe is plugged into. So you're basically seeing the alternating current of the electricity.
Now we only have one.
Yep, we're basically wiped out everything inside the globe.
Oh,
and we stole them all.
Adios.
I'm going to stop up the vacuum. I'm going to let back in a little bit of air, and we can just watch as it changes. Oh! Suddenly it's back.
It's alive!
Takes very little air. It's still pulling from the base. We're not really pulling from the ball yet, but there was so little change. As we add it back in, there it's no longer on the base. It's all coming through the ball again. And as I add more air, it gets more frantic, and it kind of goes back to what we normally see with a plasma ball, all the tiny little fingers. And now there's so much air in there that it doesn't like to jump the gap. So that's pretty fun to look at.
That is fascinating.
Something else we can now do, I'm gonna turn the vacuum part back on, drain it all out, and while it's doing that, I'm going to hook our source hose up to some argon. All right, we've gotten rid of everything inside the globe. I'm now going to let in a little bit of argon.
Argon. Hello, argon.
I let in more than I meant to. All right, so I'm actually going to let in a decent amount, and then I'm just gonna leave the vacuum on because we're trying to flush out anything that isn't argon in the chamber. So I'm just gonna, stop that right there. Look at that. So with
That's like a light show.
With a little bit of argon, yeah, every single one of those points is now reaching the glass.
Oh my gosh. This might be one of my favorite things we've done. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, I'm gonna keep letting more argon in. See how it like is speeding up and getting crazier a little bit, like the shape is changing. Oh, and
there's so many more.
Now I've added so much that it's having a hard time. I'm gonna let it pull a little bit more vacuum.
It's very
fun little like vuvuzela shaped trumpet like lines, and then it spreads out right on the glass. It's pulling a vacuum still, so it's just pulling out more and more air, and then I can just let more and more argon back in. And so now the vacuum and the argon are kind of fighting each other. There we go. So now we're getting a very low concentration, but it's almost entirely argon. And what's happening with that is the color is going to much whiter. Look at that. Did you see that change?
It went pink.
Just
it's so pink.
A little bit of nitrogen gets in there and bam, pink. Now we're going to move on to our next project, which is
another one.
Yes, instead of using the plasma globe, we're basically going to remove the ball inside, and we're just going to have the jar be the globe itself, so we can control basically the gas inside. We're going to turn off the plasma globe, so we're going to remove this part of it. And here we have basically what's inside the plasma globe. It's just a glass tube and some foil at the top.
That's it?
This is what
Wow.
This is what goes to that normally. We can turn it on. Nothing's gonna happen at first, but we're gonna start pulling a vacuum. Did you see it just all the decompressing air? So it should get to a point where this whole glass jar acts mostly like our plasma globe was before.
Ooh.
There you go.
Wow.
We've already got something. I'm just gonna pause it right there so we can take a look at it.
This is so cool.
Purple tendrils.
You can make your own.
Light bulb lighting up.
It does not want, it struggles a little bit more.
It doesn't connect to your hand as well. Let's take out more air, see what we get. We'll become more. Now we aren't adding in like the same neon argon mix that was originally in it. But what's fun is you can see it goes from, so instead of just the tendrils, and now it connects to your hand a lot. It begins to be more of just a general haze.
I'm intrigued that it wants to reflect down. I don't know if that's because of the shape of our aluminum ball inside there, that it just
I think it's just drawn to the ground. Like it's trying to escape like through the grounding wire in the vacuum and stuff. But look at that.
Oh, we can connect.
Beam.
Dun, 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 dun,
so that's a heck of a
that is very
cool
powerful.
Beam right there. Yeah, very bright, nice pink purple color. Right, so it's mostly vacuum. It's not 100% vacuum, but we have a good amount of vacuum here. So I'm gonna close off the vacuuming portion and start adding some helium in.
Helium. Such a good glow. Very pink. Oh, our connection's getting weaker.
Well, it should start going back to tendrils, I think, at some point.
There they are! It's like a disco ball.
Yeah.
But in a controlled environment. Ooh, we got one beam. Lots of beams.
All right, that's some pretty good ones right there. Look how purple it is, too. I like it. You think we should switch back to argon?
I don't see why not.
The argon running and the vacuum running at the same time, sort of flush everything out.
What a glow.
Let go for a second. Like the glass itself has a blue tint all the way around it now. Get more argon in.
It's freaking out.
So, and with our higher argon concentration, of course, we're going to that whiter color.
Whoa.
I'm still just trying to, like, I'm filling it, then draining it, filling it and draining it a little bit. Now, in theory, there are other gases we could put in here that might react, but them being ionized could do weird stuff. For instance, we could put sulfur hexafluoride in it, but it would dissolve, or it would disassociate into a sulfide and a fluoride gas, and both of those are rough. We do not want fluoride gas. So in theory, you could have a vent tube that goes to outside and lots of wind, but we don't want to mess with that. So noble gases, they don't react with anything. Also, for instance, pure oxygen, we could put that in. That's not dangerous in the chamber, but it is very, very dangerous in the vacuum pump. It would get compressed as it goes through, and in the compression process, pure oxygen surrounded by oil, it could be explosive. So noble gases are the ones we want. Those are the ones on the far right of the periodic table, and they react in cool ways. If you want to see us try a couple more, maybe we'd be able to get our hands on them. If you like this video, let us know down in the comments, and maybe we'd give that a shot.
Hey guys, if you like this kind of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button right down in that right-hand corner. That way you never miss out on a cool adventure or a cool project just like this one. We'll talk to you then.